Hey guys, welcome back to another one of my videos. And I know it's been quite a while since my last video. God, I can't speak. But today, as you guys already saw in the title, we're gonna be talking about some strategies to learn Mandarin and to just study it. So obviously, the first thing to think about when you're gonna study any new language is figure out how are you gonna learn it. So, for example, for me, Mandarin, this is my third year studying Mandarin, and I take it at school. So, for example, at school, we get vocab sheets that have a lot of, obviously, vocabulary in them. And it's obviously just going to class. But let's say if if you're gonna be like learning a language that is not offered at school, or if you just don't go to school currently, they're just really good apps. So Duolingo, for example, is a very good app. I'm not gonna be talking about it for long because there's other stuff that I have to cover. Duolingo is really good. I know Rosetta Stone works for a lot of people, and so or you can just find classes on YouTube. YouTube is a great resource for that. For example, there are many videos of classes of Korean classes, and which I used for a while to learn a lot of vocabulary and a lot of verbs and a lot of that, even like conjugations. So it's just first figuring out what you're gonna do. And don't worry if the first thing or the second thing you try don't work for you. Just make sure that if you feel like this is working, just stick to it. You have to stay persistent. Which leads me to my second point, consistency. So that's something that I personally also have to work on. When I was studying Korean, I'm not studying it right now because I don't have enough time to be putting it into like my schedule on a regular basis. But it's just first figuring out, oh, do I have time in the afternoon, or do I have time in the morning, or whenever you have time to review this vocabulary. And it's just seeing when you're gonna be available, but make sure it's not at a time where you're obviously gonna be like tired, that it's gonna be more of a chore. Make sure that when you're learning, it's because you're enjoying it. Or for example, let's say I'm taking Mandarin at school, but I currently need to catch up on a few units of vocabulary. So what I do is I try to set some time every Saturday to catch up on that. And even though I'm studying new stuff at school, I'm still taking time to review outside. Something that I think is super, super helpful is note cards. So for example, this unit is about clothing. So for example, so what I did is that I went to Quizlet.com and created a new set called clothing. And I put all the terms down and use that. So I don't always use it, but I always go on it to review, to check how I'm doing. Quizlet has a lot of games that you can play with the sets that you've created. But if that's not for you, you can also create physical note cards, which I'm not a big fan of, but they're great too. It's just a personal preference, whether you want them to be digital or not. My next point is to just try to review as much as possible, even if it's not part of your planned day. So for example, whenever I'm bored, or let's say I'm in a not in a conversation, but I am in a place where there's people talking, I just, in my head, I just try to translate what they're saying. So yeah, like let's say there's this woman saying, oh yeah, and then tomorrow I'm gonna go to the park to play with my dog. And I would be like, oh, okay, 我明天跟我的狗一起去公园玩. So it's just about just doing things like that. Even like in the shower, like if sometimes I space out a lot, like most people do, on the wall of the shower, I just start writing some characters that maybe I have a quiz on, or maybe that I just want to review because I usually don't remember them. So that's another thing that you can do. So it's just finding that time in your day, just putting in as much as you can, but obviously just remembering to just make sure it's fun, because I truly believe that learning should be something that's fun, you know? Otherwise, like, you're not gonna enjoy it, you're gonna forget it, and then that just ends up with you wasting time. My last thing, which I think is super important to anything that you're learning, is exposure. So, whether that is going to, let's say you're learning Mandarin, going to Chinatown and actually trying to speak with people in Chinese or Mandarin, or just listening to music in Mandarin, or watching shows. I just think it's something that's very useful, because that's how you're also going to learn more vocab, and you're going to learn more ways to say things that you already know. And so, for example, on Netflix, watching, let's say, right now I'm watching a show called Love So Beautiful, which is a Chinese TV show. And so and obviously watching that with English subtitles, and then hearing, oh, this is how you can also say this, like, in this way. And then eventually, once you start becoming more proficient in the language, you can try putting subtitles in Mandarin, or maybe one day just no subtitles at all. So it's just also finding things that you're already interested in and using that as an anchor, if that makes any sense, or as a cornerstone. Another example could be, let's say you love Disney music. Who doesn't love Disney music? And just listening to those same songs, but in Mandarin, or watching your favorite shows in Mandarin. I just think it's a great way to expose yourself more to that environment and to the language, and it's really gonna help you more, whether it's with the tones or with the verbs. And I think that's something you can apply to any language. Yeah, so overall, I think those are just like those 5 tips that I think are very helpful to learning Mandarin. I think honestly though, they're really helpful to learn any language. It's just that since I'm taking Mandarin, I think it has personally helped me a lot. I'm not sure if it's like things like Quizlet would be as efficient, or like Duolingo doesn't offer every language, obviously. But yeah, if you guys have any questions about language learning or about anything like regarding that, just leave them down in the comments below. If you have any suggestions on anything else I should talk about in my channel, or anything I should cover, anything I should do for fun, video games, you name it, just let me know. And yeah, thank you guys. Have an amazing day, and see you guys. Bye.